in strange corners of the unknown. I'm excited to dive into this and talk about their experience on the show and reflect back on those 20 years. But please help me welcome to the stage, you know her as Dana Scully, Julian Anderson! You know him as Walter Skinner. Give it up for Mitch Pileggi! Next up, you know him as Zach Strike. Let's bring out Nicholas Lee! And last but certainly not least, you know him as John Doggett. Let's bring out Robert Patrick! Yeah, those lights are dangerous, I'll tell you that.
He's already got them lost.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How are you?
Scared.
First of all, I want to say happy belated Thanksgiving. Did you guys do anything fun for Thanksgiving? You guys out here in San Francisco? Were you guys at home with the fam?
I flew in early here, and my wife was with me, and we had a lovely Thanksgiving dinner at the hotel.
Nick's Canadian, so he didn't do our Thanksgiving.
I had Thanksgiving like 3.5 weeks ago.
Ours doesn't count to them. My wife's Canadian, she tells me that every year. This isn't really Thanksgiving, you know. My daughter's in LA, I'm in Texas, my wife's in Texas. We flew out and had Thanksgiving with my daughter. It was glorious. My daughter and I cooked the turkey, my wife cooked the dressing for my daughter, and then whole
I don't
foods.
think that's, I don't think you're asking me quite that specific.
And then
I want to know
for dessert, we had,
Do you stuff it?
what's that?
The turkey.
Did I stuff it?
Yeah, did you stuff it?
I tried not to.
Well, look, this is Fan Expo, and it wouldn't be a Fan Expo without fan questions. So we have 2 microphones for you guys, if you guys want to line up. We're going to be taking fan questions. But before we start, Jillian, I had a friend named Heather who was a huge X-Files fan and actually enrolled into the FBI training academy because of your character. But she wanted me to ask you this question very specifically. The Dana Scully effect led to the increase in women in STEM positions and positions in the FBI. Can you talk about how the show fueled future strong female leads in science?
Just in that, at the time that our show started on international television, it was rare to see a smart, interesting, effective, strong, forward-thinking, and equal character to the male star. And so, young women who felt inside that they might have some of those attributes themselves, we're seeing that represented on television, and for seemingly the first time, or at least that they, in a big way. And so there were a lot of women at the time who thought, I want to do what she does, or I can do, or I am that smart, that curious, that empowered to, or at least encourage them to feel empowered to pursue jobs in those fields: science, technology, engineering, medicine, maths, and law enforcement. It covers a lot. Scully covered a lot of bases. And so, it became a thing. So, very cool.
It's amazing. Mitch, for you, when did you realize Skinner had become more than the archetypical boss?
He took his shirt off.
Does it every time.
I had to spend a lot of time in the gym because I never knew when they were going to have me take my shirt off. So I always had to be ready. I think that at a certain point they thought it would be more, he would serve a better purpose to be an ally to them than to be a roadblock. And I think that was, initially that was their intention for him to be something of a roadblock to Mulder and Scully. And then it was with the cigarette smoking man being part of the equation, they needed somebody to fight the battle against him and the syndicate and everybody else. And eventually, I think, I like to say, he became their champion. So.
Look, the show was a cultural phenomenon. I remember being a kid, I was scared to death of the show, if I'm being quite honest with you. My dad would kind of like make me watch it with him, not bad. But I was terrified, I'm not gonna lie, I was terrified of the show. But he loved it, he loved that show. And now I've discovered it like recently, actually. And I just told everybody, I'm not finished with all of it yet, so bear with me. But when you were doing the show, when you first started doing the show, when did you realize that it was catching on? Because you gotta think at a time, we don't really have the internet, cell phones aren't really a thing, you can't really scroll on social media. So when did you know that it was becoming this massive hit?
I guess when other people told me. The interviews that we were doing increased and increased. We were often doing photo shoots on the few hours on the weekends that we had to ourselves. And so, no, I'm joking, but it was, we kind of did interviews all the time. And that was because it was beloved and every time we did an interview, the question was, did you guys have any idea it was going to be this big? And also that, Fox wanted to send us to the ends of the earth to publicize it. And so, it was probably in year 2, and then in year 3 was really when it was clear that it had landed in a really big way. But we forget that, back then on a Friday night, all at one time, there was, 42 million people watching simultaneously. Well, no, that wouldn't be true, would it? Because, no, but on the night that it aired, that it was that many, as opposed to now when you get the numbers from Netflix or whatever, it might be however many million over a 2-week period or something like that. But it was, it was a big deal back then.
I mean, it's still a big deal now. It's still a big deal now. Now, for each of you guys had all different entry points into the world of X-Files. What was your experience with the show prior to jumping into the show? Eddie, that's great.
I had done a guest star back in the first season, which was very small and kind of. It's kind of forgettable, but maybe not. And then they brought me in to read for that role, and there was just a few people, and I happened to get it. It sort of changed my life.
It's incredible.
It really is incredible.
Yeah.
Just by happenstance, almost in a way, right? And you always feel like a small cog in a big wheel, and yet it's and my association with the show is obviously much less than the rest of the people on the stage, but it's been remarkable in many ways that aren't just professional. Sure. Like lots of chicks and stuff.
It was a crazy time. I mean, the show was a massive hit. And I had done The Sopranos and was looking for something to get on TV after that experience, and realized TV was such a great medium that I hadn't really explored. And luckily, the job presented itself. And it was a little intimidating knowing that David was kind of leaving and they were going to create a new character, but they created such a great character for me that I loved it. It was a great time in my life. My wife was having a kid and I wanted to work in LA, and the show was in LA, and so the shooting schedule was going to be there. I wouldn't have to leave, for most of the year, and it was exciting. But you know, the fan base was so like, who's this new guy? Wow, and the internet was new, and like, you know, people on the internet were saying all sorts of stuff. And gosh, I just looked at it as a job, you know. This is a great job, this wonderful writing. The production value on the show was incredible. It was like making a little mini movie every week. And then I had the opportunity to work with Jillian and Mitch, James Perkins. And it was such a great crew and great writing. It was a very, very exciting time. Jillian sent me some flowers. I remember a beautiful bouquet of flowers showed up at my house. You're so nice. And she said, the message was, get some sleep. GA. And I didn't realize what she was talking about, because it was the first time I'd done an episodic in that way, and it's really like a factory kind of a situation. I mean, I hate to make it sound like that, but it is. You kind of go in, you punch your time clock at the start on Monday, and you're coming home early a.m.
Spat out on Saturday morning.
Sunday, yeah.
Sunrise, yeah.
I think it's the X-Files is the only job that I work like 36 hours in one day, you know. It's crazy. And then, I don't know if you remember this, Jillian, but I had, and I don't even know if this is a good thing for the crew or not, but I had 31 forced calls the first year. And I didn't know if that was good or bad.
What does that mean?
A forced call, we have a turnaround. I can't remember what we have. It's jobs, they vary, but I think the standard is sort of a 12-hour turnaround, portal to portal. Is that correct?
Something like that.
Something like
They
that.
didn't call
When you
in
wrap to when
early.
you're back.
So what you have to do, you have to, you know, you show up to work, and then you work all day, and then you go home, and then you have to prep for the next day, or you're trying to stay ahead a couple of days of all the dialogue you've got coming up, and picking out your big
So if you're working a
monologues.
17-hour day, say on a Monday, you might get picked up at 4:45 a.m. By the time it's, you know, Friday, the last weekday that you're working, you might be being picked up at, you know, at 2 p.m. because you're going to be working until sunrise or
Yeah.
whatever. But they, in order for everybody not to have to work so late, they'll ask the actors to decrease the amount of time between when they show up to work and when they come back again. And so they narrow that. So forced calls means you come back less than your 12-hour turnaround. So the maximum they can force you is 2 hours. But they can force you an extra 2 hours, so it's a 10-hour turnaround. But that doesn't include the travel, and very often the travel is an hour each way, so that means it's an 8-hour. You know what I mean? It gets, you know, and they're meant to pay you extra.
And then you get, Harry Bring, our one of our production managers, would always say, hey, I'm gonna buy you that TV tomorrow.
Yeah.
And that meant you were getting a forced call.
I've got 31 TVs, thanks. Thank you very much. But it was a crazy grind, and I gotta tell you, Jillian was fantastic at it. I mean, she had it down. I don't know if you mind me saying this, but sometimes you had that cot in between trying to catch a nap every once in a while. It was a grueling experience, but very rewarding, exciting, and I had the best time doing it. And you know, hopefully you guys enjoyed John Doggett. I love John Doggett. It is my favorite character I've ever played. Because he was I don't get to play a lot of good guys. He had such a good heart, he was integrity, and had good values, he was a good dude, and I loved it. I loved the experience.
And that doesn't include, I'm assuming, the prep work you have to do for the next day in that turnaround time.
Oh, it's hard. It's hard. I mean, especially the Babel, she has to come on. I mean, you look at her and go, good God, I'm glad it's you. You're the scientist.
Well, let's go to some
What
of your...
about you? How was it?
Annabeth came in.
I remember my freshman year of college, it was event television and the X-Files. We would watch it in our dorm lounge, you know what I mean? And it was like, it was this thing. So when I had the opportunity to join the show, also after auditioning my face off, it was a joy and a little intimidating. I'm so glad social media did not exist at that point in time as it does today, because I think it would have been, I mean, we were warmly welcomed, but there was, I mean, maybe that's in the past, nostalgic, that I'm sort of, maybe we weren't so warmly welcomed, but now we are, and I think we earned our stripes. But it really was, you knew you were joining something that was iconic, and it was just a true joy.
And we had been doing the show for 7 seasons, so we were at a certain point sometimes we were running on fumes, and I've said this before, when both Robert and Annabeth came on the show and brought a new energy to the show for us, it kind of gave us a boost, so it was welcome. You were welcome.
You're like, who are these mofos?
We were happy you were there.
Well, let's get to your fan questions. Hello, how are you?
Living the dream.
Living the dream, let's go.
Was there any particular episodes that you liked doing the most, or what was your favorite episode doing?
4D and Audrey Polly were my favorites.
Yeah, those would be.
Anyone else?
I liked all the stuff that we did in Russia, Tunguska, and all that stuff. It was super fun.
Pops was pretty fun. I remember that the other day. I saw a picture, somebody brought me a picture to sign from that episode. That was really cool. And all of the really experimental ones like Triangle and what is it, The Great Matado? Is that what's that one? Exactly. That was really good, yeah. Yeah.
Mitch, you got one?
My favorite shows were the shows that I weren't in. So. Honestly, I mean, rolling around with Amanda Tapping from on Avatar.
What? Why are you asking us?
You guys know the show better than we do, probably. I always had fun doing the show, so.
I like that episode where Annabeth had to do the whale sounds.
That is still like my most requested, like people want me to like call in and do them.
No.
I refuse, like do not ever ask me that.
Can you do a little bit?
Just a little bit.
Do you remember that? Like, while you're like, you probably blacked that out, like me singing to you. I had to sing whale songs for your delivery. Everyone makes you Chris, I'll never forget it, gave me like a CD copy. I was in my trailer and he was like, I want you to sing this while Jillian's giving birth. You don't remember that? I blocked it out. What?
Like, wait, were you standing at the foot of my...
Yes, I was standing, I was wearing that white t-shirt and I was standing at the foot of your bed.
You were not.
I was! What? I was
Let's recreate the whole thing.
I was trying to calm you down for labor. I don't know, I guess she doesn't remember. It must not have been that
Totally
good.
worked.
I mean, it totally works, yeah, exactly.
I hypnotized you.
Sorry.
Before we get into the next fan question, I do want to say, shout out to our ASL interpreter, making sure that everybody... Thank you so much. Thank you. Hello.
I love the X-Files, 218 episodes and 2 movies.
It's Paul.
Hi, Paul.
Thank you for having me. And what my question is for the panel, for each of you, who would you say that greatly influenced your acting career? Maybe a sentence from each of you who influenced you to become a television movie actor.
You mean like another actor?
Just in your careers, a sentence each, someone was a great influence upon you choosing this career.
Meryl Streep.
Anyone else?
I don't have, I'm not an actor.
Jimmy Stewart. Your parents.
Jimmy Stewart / Chris Walken.
Annabeth?
I mean, Larry Moss was a teacher that I studied with in Los Angeles, and he was really, really influential to me.
Oh, there's so many people, you know, I mean, John Wayne, Steve McQueen, James Dean, Marlon Brando. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your question.
Thank you.
Hello, how are you?
Yes, hi. Well, here, hold on for a second, a little taller. Not sure if I'll go up any further. Let's get that's better. Okay, so I stopped off at each of your tables, so I've had a chance to, meet you guys and express my gratitude, because, well, first of all, I didn't pick up the X-Files right from the get-go. For me, it was season 3. And to be honest, the reason I got on the show was by accident, because one day I was channel surfing and I think I was trying to find The Simpsons, and then I saw, this show where like there was an alien coming out of some kind of desert container, and I saw like, what the heck is this? This isn't The Simpsons. And I started to watch it and I was hooked. And but then it's like, well, I have to find out more, so I just backtracked, got the VHS tapes, watched it regularly. So first of all, that is my fan story, and I never looked back. And kind of related to that, the one thing with the X-Files that was very important to me was that the stories would grip you, and they would do this, throughout the season. In fact, Jillian, for me, one of the strongest moments as a fan of the show was when you first learned that Scully had cancer. And it's like, this is my favorite
You
character.
remember that part, Jillian?
What?
Okay, anyway, so your character had cancer. That was obviously a big moment in the show. So, I was actually wondering, for something like that, which became such an integral part of the story, was this, for that one, like, did you have an idea shortly after the plot element was written how they were going to resolve it? Or was this something that was generally developed over the course of the season?
Oh, I don't feel like I knew anything until I read something in a script. I don't feel like I was privy to upcoming ideas or arcs, or I don't feel like, and so, yeah, that's all I got.
I suppose you could apply the question to each of you was, if it's a simple question, yes or no, you feel that in most cases, it's like you would find out long after the initial thing was introduced, or in some rare cases was it like, oh, so this is where they're going with this?
Well, I have to say that like in the UK, very often when you're working, you get all the scripts before you start shooting. If it's a UK production, if it's an American production, very often things are still being written at the last minute and turned in at the last minute. So I've done shows where you get the pages on the same day that you're shooting. Now that would have been impossible with the X-Files because the amount that we had to memorize, but sometimes as seasons went on and they were trying to catch up with themselves, it wasn't that far off where you get scripts quite late in the day, and so very often, there was such a schedule that the writers and producers didn't have enough time to fill you in, and may not have mattered anyway because you were doing it and you just had to show up and do your thing. So.
Well, we would be working, and then we would go do additional dialogue recording, and then we'd walk over and do the read-throughs for the script upcoming. Remember that? Yeah, we did table reads. Anybody might
I
know.
remember doing, I don't remember.
I've never.
I told
You say that word in another show.
You were doing a table read, you were just sitting in a room doing a table read.
We had table reads. Somebody call Chris Carter.
Listen, I've been shooting, this is how on the spot it was. I can remember one time Dave and I were shooting a scene, and right in the middle of shooting the scene, Chris called the set and said, I'm rewriting the scene, and he read the scene to us over the phone. And of course, he's got a photographic memory, and he had it immediately. Well, I'm not a quick study. So I labored over dialogue, and it was, I mean, that's how short a notice you had on what was transpiring on the show.
Yes, and of course, to me, not being an actor, just watching it, the fan had to suffer through it. So.
I'm sorry about that.
You guys,
What the fuck?
Good talking to you.
What are you talking
Happy.
about?
Next question.
Thank you. Let's move on. How you doing?
Insult you, Mitch?
My name's Joshua, and I love the show, and you guys are all awesome. What's your favorite moment or favorite scene within the show?
Sorry, we're still on,
Yeah, so I was saying you guys are awesome in the show. Do you guys have a particular favorite scene or favorite moment in the show?
Well, I loved it I loved the opening scene when Dana Scully throws water in my face.
I do remember that.
That's probably my favorite scene too.
You know, and I gotta tell you, everybody was there to watch that. I remember that. Chris was there, spotting it, everybody. How's this gonna go? And
we were doing the table read. I remember when that was.
yeah,
I never knew what I was going to do until I was reading the scripts, and with the exception of when I was told I was going to be speaking Russian, and they gave me about 2 weeks to learn that. But which is really hard, by the way, if you don't understand the language, to learn it and speak it in a scene. But every time, I've said this many times in the past, but it was sort of like Christmas for me, because I would open up a script and I'd be like hanging from 17 floors, or I'd be running from an exploding car, or exactly, or on top of an alien ship in the bottom of a silo, spewing black oil out of my face. Like it just was constantly crazy, and I said yes to all of it, and it was all so memorable.
what was the black oil? I forgot.
It was like sugar and water and food coloring. No, you mean what was black? It was engine oil that.
What was it?
It was engine. I'm joking. It was engine oil that came from the fighter plane, the Japanese fighter plane. It was on the bottom of the ocean, and that's how the aliens traveled, was through like literal engine oil.
Remember when the black
Yeah,
oil?
I know. Yeah, exactly. And that was like black was literally oil. It was supposed to be black oil. It was a Piper. No, what's the one with the Japanese? They find the fighter plane at the bottom of the ocean, right?
Yeah.
Help me out here, please.
I feel like it's as if you guys weren't on the same show together. Amazing. Hello. How are you?
Hi, I'm wonderful. Thank you so much for being here, all of you. While a lot of the fan favorite episodes are more comedic, obviously as a whole, the show had a much more serious tone. So I was wondering if there was anything anyone ever did on set to lighten the tone, or if, and I know it was a long time since you filmed it, but were there any episodes or scenes you remember just not being able to get through because you were laughing?
Yes.
Once she started laughing, it was all over. Call it
Those are
around.
kind of the best memories, frankly, were like when we were just brain fried, and or, truly one of the most delightful aspects of working with Jillian was when she would she'd be in these high heels and doing amazing things like running fast on that ship. Do you remember when we were on that ship? I think we were on a ship. But really it was, as for all of the intensity, there was so much like hysterical, I think probably like we were at 2 in the morning just giddy.
Yes, yes, slap happy.
Yeah.
And, you know, and you'd say, try and say some of the stuff that we had to say. Oh my God. I mean, forget trying to say it accurately, just even making it make any kind of sense whatsoever. And, you know, there's a certain point, at the very beginning, I would like try, you know, really, really try and understand what it was that I was saying. And by season, maybe 2. I just cared about being able to get the lines out and make it look like I knew what I was talking about. And so, very often at 3 o'clock in the morning, if you've got a monologue about some scientific whatchamacallit, and you're on take 16 and your mouth is, you know, you just can't get it up anymore. And so, you know, yeah, or you say something that is just so ridiculous. It just doesn't make any sense, or you transfer words, and, you know.
Or
so there were,
sing whale songs that you wouldn't ever even remember.
a woman at your feet when you're giving birth, and she's like making these noises at you, and how can you not start cracking up?
I tell you, one thing I do remember was I got really good at using a flashlight.
At least when you came along, they were small.
Yeah,
When we started out, they were so funny.
And the other trick, you remember every time we had the flashlights, the DP would be going, okay, so you get that board over there, and then we'll get some light on your face that way.
We were lighting ourselves.
And we were lighting.
Yeah. No matter how big the flashlights were, we always pulled them out of somewhere.
Yeah. Just had to have that one, Agent Scully.
Thank you so much for the question. Hello.
Hi, I'm JT. Thank you guys so much for coming. I really appreciate it. I've been watching the show a lot lately, and I know you guys had 12 seasons, and you guys, it's been a while since the show happened. But my question for all of you is, were there any guest actors that maybe appeared in one show that you absolutely liked working with, or have any like funny stories of? Like, I saw Jack Black there, Shia LaBeouf, Giovanna Ribisi. There's been so many people across the 12 years. And I just wanted to know if you guys have.
Ryan Reynolds, apparently.
Yeah.
Yes.
Joe Morton.
Burt Reynolds.
Burt Reynolds.
Reynolds.
Steve Railsback.
I do remember that.
That was amazing. Did you guys have any like really fun?
Oh, Lily Tomlin and Ed Asner, man. Yeah.
Thank you guys.
Thank you. Hello.
Hi, my name is Ryan, and this question is for the whole cast. When you're deep into the series, do you ever get to collaborate with the showrunner, Chris, and the writers about what you want for your characters?
No.
Not at all.
David used to punch me like in every episode that we were in. I was talking this to somebody this weekend, and I went to Chris and I said, "Can I just get punched once?" He said, "No."
I think the only time that I had any input was that when I was dealing with the nanotechnology that he had injected into my system, and with all the special effects makeup and shit that I had on me. At a certain point I said, can we just get rid of this shit, because I really don't want to do the special effects makeup anymore. And it was, so they figured some way to get out of that. That was just me being a big whiny baby.
Thank you so much. Hello.
Hi, my name is Valerie. I was just wondering if Ryan Coogler has approached any of you about the X-Files potential reboot.
No, not me.
I had a conversation with him a couple years ago, I feel like now, just to hear what he had to say. And I mean, he's such a lovely man, and he's so talented. And I thought, you know, when I'd been asked prior to that whether it would be something that I'd be up for, you know, my knee-jerk reaction is often, no, I feel like I've kind of done that already. And but you know, I'm interested to hear what he makes of it, and I'm interested in reading, you know, what it is that he's created, and no doubt he'll do an extraordinary job. And I, you know, won't say absolutely never, but you know, we'll see.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hello. Out of all the concepts introduced in the show, like the monsters and the mysteries, what stuck with you the most, or did you find the most interesting?
Great question.
I mean, isn't it? Hi. Isn't it interesting that I just find it interesting. There's there's a cabal that's like running everything and determining everything and all that kind of stuff. I mean, that's sort of the heartbeat of the show to some extent, but that's a sort of a theory that never wants to die. So I just thought that was pretty cool and way ahead of its time, in fact, as well.
Yeah, I mean, all the stuff with CRISPR-Cas and all the DNA, stem cell research and stuff that, Chris had infused, particularly the later episodes with, that is now being used today for gene splicing and whatever it's used for is pretty extraordinary. His thinking, or at least the research that he was doing, or his researchers were doing, feels like it was ahead of its time. Yeah, I mean, and also, obviously, in the last few years, the departments within the government that, came to light in terms of, sighting of UFOs and studying extraterrestrials and all of that,
I actually had a conversation with Chris. I said, who were you talking to back then when you were writing that stuff? Because, I mean, honestly, look at all the stuff that's come to fruition in the present day. I mean, the possibility of aliens and everything else, and government conspiracies and deep states and all that stuff. He knew something that none of the rest of us knew for sure. And he says, I'm not that smart, and I said, yeah, I think you are.
I want to follow up on that actually, because today UFOs are called UAPs and the government admits they exist. So if the show started now, would Mulder and Scully still be in a basement, or would they get windows?
I guess it depends on within whose administration.
Hello.
Hi, my name's Sabina. It's nice to meet you guys. I was wondering if there was a character that you guys didn't play on the show that you wanted to maybe play, or if instead of the character you played, who would you have rather played instead? Thank you.
I thought Peter Boyle's character on the show was quite brilliant. He was so funny and just perfect in that role. I would have enjoyed that. Of course, I want to play Frankenstein, Indian Frankenstein.
No. Hi.
Hi, my question for everyone. Out of all the monsters that were on the show, both paranormal and human, who do you think was the most terrifying?
Toombs was pretty creepy.
Yeah.
So Karen Carnival is the woman that when they pulled her out from under the bed. That was really
Yeah, what was that?
That's called.
That was a weird freaking episode.
And I know that person, and she's great. She played the orangutan in the Planet of the Apes movies, right? She's super talented, but that was so freaky.
Didn't it kind of get censored or banned?
Well, it did, because they were impregnating her. Her sons were impregnating her. She was having babies. They were burying them out in the backyard. Brutal. She had no arms and no legs, and she was like on a dolly underneath the bed. So freaky.
We're reading with her son, riding around in a Cadillac playing Johnny Mathis. Wow, that's one of my favorite episodes.
I was just catching up and watching. I watched the first episode of Stranger Things, and I also watched Pluribus, the first episode of that. And I was thinking, how? So those are both they have throwback to X-Files. Truly,
Is Vince Gilligan the creator of Pluribus?
Yes. But it just, and not that it's derivative, it's just that it was such, I mean, it was ahead of its time, and it still stayed the test of time, that people are still making shows about these questions.
Absolutely. Hello?
Hi, my name is Shiwan. This question is specifically for Ms. Gillian Anderson. I know you have directed and I believe written also the same episode before. I was wondering how was the experience of directing yourself and also the rest of the cast? And yeah, like what are like the creative freedom that you have doing it?
Surprisingly, I had a lot of creative freedom. I can't quite believe that I did that at the same time as working on it, as filming the show. I don't know quite how. I had spat out my idea for an episode in an outline, like until 3 o'clock in the morning at one point, and presented it to Chris, and he said, you know, if you turn this into an episode and I think it's good, I'll consider letting you direct it, which is crazy, I mean, amazing. And he said that I could use Frank Spotnitz as my point person and to help, you know, guide me. And so I did, and we worked on it for however long we worked on it, and then he said yes. And I remember I couldn't believe my luck in the first day of directing. I was so excited. And then on day 2, I just wanted it to be over. I was like, this is so hard. But the thing that I really, I'd really like to do it again. We were talking about it earlier with Mitch. You know, it's completely different being an actor than a director. You know, as an actor, you get the liberty of showing up, you know, right before a call and going through her makeup and then getting to go home at the end of the day. A director does not sleep, you know, from the moment they begin pre-prep, etc., until, you know, way past the post-production period. So it's a huge, huge commitment. But the thing that I hadn't taken account for was how important it was to, and I didn't realize this until I saw it, but it hadn't occurred to me that I needed to spend time with the actors to talk through the scenes and what it is that I needed from them. I had assumed because, you know, because we're all actors and we're good and we're saying, you know, that it would just be an intuitive thing, and I wished that I had taken more time to figure out what it was specifically that I needed from each scene, specifically from the actors, in order to deliver what I was, because, yeah. And so, yeah, that's all I'm saying.
Thank you. Thank you. Look, we only have a couple minutes left, so we're going to do these really fast since there's 2 of you. Go.
This question is for the whole cast. Given that the shows before typically filmed 24 episodes, now a lot of them are filmed for streaming, which is like 12 episodes. How has your approach to acting changed, or maybe stayed the same? Any philosophies or mottos that you guys kept or stayed the same with you?
I just can't believe we used to do 24 episodes. And anybody you tell these days who works on shows that are, you know, 12 plus, I mean, it renders people speechless. Like, they cannot believe that we did that year on year, you know, year on year. Is there something different?
I just having worked with a film actor that's doing streaming, and he was just, you know, blown away by how hard it is, as far as staying ahead of your dialogue and the, you know, that aspect of what we do, and how easy it had been for him in film is what his feeling was. So I think a lot of film actors that are now doing these platforms have a real appreciation for how hard it is to be in an episodic television show, because it's a, you know, it's a fun grind, but it is a grind. It's a real grind.
I think it's about pace and stamina.
Yeah.
Really, those two things. You need to have pace and you need to have stamina for streaming. I mean, anything anymore, independent film, if that even exists, but you just have to come prepared.
I like the streaming platform though, of, you know, the way it stretches out, you know, like, I do enjoy that.
Awesome.
It's close.
Go ahead, you got the final one.
My name is Brittany. The guys are great. I want to especially say thank you though to Jillian and to Annabeth. You guys are a huge reason that I spent 1.5 years at the FBI and then became a state special agent. Jillian spoke about the Chili effect, but the rest of you guys, was there a facet of your character that you really wanted to represent, to show people?
Show people what?
We took off his shirt.
You know, my hope was that people didn't know whether to like me or hate me. That was my goal right from the get-go, and I hope I succeeded, but that was. Yeah, and that was part of what was so fun, why it was so fun to do as well. Because you kind of were rooting for them, but you also wanted them to like get dragged by a truck. So.
Well, look, San Francisco. Oh, you go ahead.
I just wanted to remember my lines. That's all I That was the most important.
San Francisco, thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Also, Julie has a project this summer.
Oh, no, actually, I wanted to say, I've got one more t-shirt left. Does anybody want to bid for the t-shirt? You do? Okay, why don't you guys take it out? I'm going to start it at 300. Yeah, because that's what they went for. Well, actually, one of them went for 500 yesterday, but if anybody's interested. Yeah, you are? Okay, got somebody in at 3. Anybody else? No? Show us the shirt. Good question. So this is a t-shirt for my drinks company. This particular one is the color of the Arouse can. And my daughter designed all of them, and they each have different colors and images on the back. And the drink is called G-Spot. Which is not available in California, but you can get it in other states in America. And it's very tasty. And anyway, some wonderful people bid on t-shirts that I'm donating for one of my charities that I started 17 years ago, which is a mentor-mentee charity. Anyway, I really appreciate it. And so if anybody else is interested in going above $300 for a signed t-shirt with an inscription of some kind, you're welcome to bid now. Otherwise, yeah? Show the back. Okay, I'll show the back. Yeah, oh yeah, there it is. Yeah, somebody else? 350? 400? Anybody else want to go higher than 4? Really appreciate it. It's going to a very good cause. Providing youth with mentors, underprivileged youth with mentors. Okay, we got 400. Last chance. 450. Hot damn. Thank you very much. Is that a bunny rabbit? It's a cat. 450 from the cat in the front row. Anybody else want to go higher? Higher than 450? G-Spot shirt. I'll write an inscription on it. Sign it. Lick it. Whatever you want. Whatever you want. Okay, 450. Oh, 5? 500. No, the cat's out. Okay, 500. You got it. Do you want to just come right round to the back right here? It'll make it a lot easier. Thanks, everybody. Really appreciate it.